Who would you like if you could have recorded with someone, like done like
Mhm.
a collaboration with someone from the past? Any
Mhm.
one person, who would you have wanted to collab with?
Janis Joplin.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been.
She wore her pain in her voice.
Yeah.
And like I was a big fan. She didn't make a lot of music, but the stuff that she
No.
made, especially her standouts, like I can listen to those things, quite a
Oh
bit.
yeah.
And I became a fan and her register and
Yeah.
like not being afraid to let it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I feel that in Janis Joplin. So that'd be dope. With
Yeah.
the beauty of it is now is like if I want to go to the studio and get some Janis Joplin vocals, I can. And I can put something together and just even if I
Yeah.
don't put it out, I could just put it together for me so I can listen to it.
Have you've never done that?
No, 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 no.
Man, maybe you should. I mean, just to
Yeah.
see what it like for
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah,
just to see what it would sound like. 'Cause
yeah.
I can
Absolutely.
see that matching like really well. That's a
Yeah,
good one, man.
our registers are similar. Like her
Yeah.
voice is very scrappy and rugged, and
Mhm.
it'll be a good match. Yeah.
Well, that'll happen if you drink about 3 bottles of Southern Comfort a day. I mean, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. You'll end up sounding like Louis Armstrong real
Oh,
quick. Man.
right.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
You know that, I mean, yeah, just like talk about like the pain and shit in her verse. Like she had such a shit upbringing. She's from Texas, like,
right.
same. Like for me, she's from the city called Port Arthur, which is just a big old shithole of a place.
Yeah.
And I mean, people hated her when she was growing up.
Yeah,
And like
of
when she,
course.
she went to school with Jimmy Johnson, the coach, the football coach.
What?
They like grew up together. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And when she went to,
How
she
do you
went
know
to,
all this shit, bro? How do you fucking
dude,
you don't smoke weed, do you?
hell no.
Oh
No.
yeah.
Dude, if I took one hit, I'd be in a goddamn mental
Dude, don't
institution.
do it. We need you. Look. When the internet goes down, you're gonna help us know all the shit that we need to write down.
Dude,
Like, are you kidding me?
man,
Like,
I
dude,
can't.
I was like, he remembers too much shit to even fuck around with cannabis.
I mean, I used to like whenever, like just when I was younger, and then all out of nowhere just started having crazy panic attacks when I would
Yeah,
smoke. And
yeah,
I was like, well, I can't be doing this shit.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm like counting my heartbeats. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh
oh,
no.
I'm like
No, you're using
75. That's high.
you're using your powers for good and not evil at this time. Just stay exactly where you are. Stay
Yeah.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
I'll smoke enough for the both of us.
That works. Yeah, you can have mine. I'll just pass it right along. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I used to drink a lot. That was more of
Yeah.
my thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just getting just obliterated. And
Yeah.
then somehow still managed to keep some brain cells, which I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm telling you, I tried for the life of me to get rid of them.
Yeah.
They stuck around.
Well, good. I'm glad you survived that. Yes.
Yeah.
On the bigger and better things.
Dude, yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, that's yeah, I don't know. I've just always had like a decent memory. I'm not smart. That's the
Yeah,
weird thing.
yeah.
People think because you remember shit, you're smart. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, a complete idiot. But man, I can remember, I have a
That's good.
steel trap up here, I guess.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's a gift. It's a gift.
Yeah, man, I try to use it for good. I mean, there's not really much else I can do with this damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's who is a band musician, whatever, that people would be the most surprised that you listen to. I think Janis Joplin's actually up there, but is there
Yeah.
one you can think of where people are like, God damn, Xzibit likes
Yeah, like listen, I really became really good friends with Chico and the rest of the guys in the Deftones. I listened to who else? I listened to a lot of Peter Gabriel.
Oh
Believe it or
my
not.
God.
Yeah.
Dude, massive Peter Gabriel.
Yeah. Listen to a lot of Peter Gabriel.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of hip hop. Like
Yeah,
massive hip hop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, you probably when we came out, a lot of those worlds were merging. Like I've done the Warped Tour. I've done tours with Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park and all these other like rock and rap really had a real like pairing at that time, especially with the big
Yeah.
festivals, anger management, all that kind of stuff. So it was, you know, and you know, I've been, you know, a big fan of rock myself. A lot of, you know, Rage Against the Machine, like really
Dude,
like
yeah.
cool shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's not too far off.
Yeah, no, and there's especially like in that time, like let's say like early 2000s, there's a huge crossover, you know, with
Yeah.
like new metal, like and then you know earlier in that, like Rage Against the Machine, like really is the big crossover. But there's always been like this, you know, connection between like metal and rap because there's a groove to both of them that just
Right.
fits like it.
And there's also the aggression, like, you know, the voice of rebellion, you know, that was
Yeah,
kind of where the synergies were. Not like the Run DMC, you know,
y-
Aerosmith kind of
yeah.
shit. You know
Well,
what I'm
that
saying?
fits for
But
that
that was the
time though.
beginning. That was the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah.
Well, in their
Absolutely.
music, like if you go back, you know, and listen to Run DMC and listen to Aerosmith, their music's very similar. Like what they're
Right.
talking about, you know, it's not like neither one of them are making like aggressive music. Like they're making
Right.
like stadium anthems, you know, so it kind of
Right.
fits. But then whenever you get to like, I guess it was maybe late 80s, early 90s when Public Enemy and Anthem did
Yeah.
theirs, which Public Enemy is my favorite group of all time.
Me
Like,
too. Just did
yeah.
a Pitchfork interview where uh I rated my top 10 album, where it's a perfect 10, and Public Enemy Fear of a Black Planet was my choice.
Man, that's such a great album. But I
Yeah.
actually like It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. I
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
like that one even more, maybe. They're
Yeah, I
both
mean, I was a
just
big fan of PE, but they took a turn
Mhm.
when, you know, they said that when they released Fight the Power, I was like, this is the best shit ever created.
Man. God, I can't even imagine. I feel sometimes like kind of envious that I didn't get to grow up in that time, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I grew up in a time where there's still a lot of great music. I mean, everybody does,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
I think everybody looks back at the previous generation like, oh, they had it better. Like, do you feel that way sometimes where you're like, man, I wish I grew up on like you know, my parents' generation's music? Like,
I've always been, you know, I grew up with, you know, my origins being born in Detroit, you know, living in New Mexico, and then, you know, making my way to LA, and, you know, becoming a man in LA.
yeah,
Um, I've had the gift of being able to be exposed to different cultures. So I love what hip hop would being the soundtrack of my life. You know, like
yeah,
I love it. This is what this is what I gravitated to. This is what made me like connect to my soul and spirit, and, you know, like finding this stuff, you know. So
yeah,
hip hop has always had a huge impact on my life. And I wouldn't have it any other way. It's just different now. You know, the connectivity of, you know, social media, you know, people being in everybody's faces all the time. If you have Wi-Fi and a certain app, then you can, you know, record yourself, and, you
yeah.
know, I think that there's just more shit to shift through. Um, but really, there's still good music out there. It's just harder to find it.
I love older music just in general. I feel like there's sometimes maybe there's more originality to it, which maybe I just sound like an old man, you know,
Yeah.
talking. But
You never want to be that guy back in my day. You know,
well, the
you
crazy thing
guys
is
don't
that
know
it's
nothing
not.
about real music. Yeah. Don't be that guy.
I know. Well, the crazy thing is it's not even my day. Like I'm wishing things were from a time where I wasn't even around. Like I was born in dude, I was born in 93. I mean, you know, I
Oh,
didn't,
dope.
man, like
Dope.
so I'm like sitting here thinking like, oh, I wish it was like the 70s, you know, back when it was good. But I don't know if
Yeah.
it was. I mean, maybe people in the
Yeah.
70s hated
No,
it
but see,
then.
that's the thing. We had shit music back then too. It just did, you know what I'm saying? It was just harder to they moved the goalpost. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a
Mm,
time when, you know, the criticism of people not taking care of the craft, or being really, you know, like, you could tell when somebody's really passionate about music, and when people are
yeah.
just using it as a hustle. And then when that criticism got too loud, then people's like, oh, well, you're hating. No, I'm not hating. I'm just saying you're not good. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like I should have a chance to do this whack shit in front of you, and you shouldn't be able to say anything about it. And that's not
Yeah.
yeah, that put a real damper on things.
Yeah, I mean, and that's such a bullshit way of looking at things. Like you got to be able to criticize something on the same hand that you should be able to like something.
Right, right,
Like how
right,
can you have one and not the other? Like there's plenty
right.
of artists that are massive and I fucking don't like them. But it's just me. I'm just one guy. Like
No,
yeah.
I think it's I think what we've done is it has gone through everything had goes through cycles.
Mm,
So we're in a cycle right now where people have been force fed this whole like drinking out of a fire hose of this
mm,
subpar kind of music with no, connection or any kind of like
yeah.
soul in it. Right. And so now I think people have had that so long that now we're starting to see the emergence of, you know, um, people looking for authenticity, people looking for they can
Yeah.
tell they've had so much fast food they know when something is
Mm,
substantial. And I think that there's an awakening happening. We saw the David and Goliath thing that happened between Kendrick and Drake and how that played
yeah.
out. And both of them are phenomenal artists, but we got to
Yeah.
see what's what's important. Is it the skill
Mm,
or the popularity? Can it be the size of the artist, or
mhm.
is it the skill of the artist or the intent of the artist? And
Right.
I
Right.
think that people got a real a real lesson, 1-on-1 of what it could take to actually go the distance. And
Yeah.
you don't need pop, you don't need popular music, you don't need auto tune. You just got to connect to
Mhm.
the people.
Yeah. And that's especially when it comes to hip hop too, because it's just your words. Like,
Right.
I mean, that's what you got. Like it's not necessarily like you're not necessarily playing an instrument. I mean, like the
Mhm.
words are an instrument. So like that's all you have to go off of. And like
Right.
if you can't like do something with those words, then like what the fuck are you really doing? And
Correct.
Kendrick's like a
Correct.
prime example of somebody who can do anything with
Right.
just like with a dictionary. That guy can
Mhm.
like I mean, he's a genius. Like, I
Right.
know genius gets thrown around a lot, but I feel like he is for sure the
Yeah.
genius of like our time kind of
Yeah, absolutely. He's
thing.
I'd say this all the time. You don't have to sell the truth. If you speaking from the heart or you just putting words together, I think people are starting to figure out who means what they say, who say what they mean, and people who are just here just to, fill up the room. Now there's room for both, right? I
Yeah,
think
for
the,
sure.
the the slippery slope happens when you prioritize one over the other, right?
Mm,
And so
yeah,
yeah, like back in my day, when I was listening to music, like we had Rakim, we had
yeah.
Big Daddy Kane, we had, Heavy D and the Boys, but we also had Two Live Crew. And we had,
Mm,
Miami bass music. You know what I'm saying? Like shit
yeah,
you just
right,
cut
right.
loose to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, see,
oh,
you
look
know
at
what I'm saying?
that. Well, that's it.
Yeah. I
I
said Two
was,
Live Crew. They was like,
man,
yeah.
oh
But
my
yeah,
God.
man.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, man. I think we're coming into a season of balance. Where
Mm,
people are politics and all that stuff are
mm,
coming to a important part of our lives. Music used to be
mm,
the voice for that. Not
yeah,
necessarily standing behind a politician, but the voice of rebellion, like being able to
yeah,
say things that the public might be feeling, but
yeah.
in a protest in a way of this is how we do it. Even back when they were protesting the Vietnam conflict and
Mhm.
how the artists were internalizing what was happening on the college campuses and internalizing what was happening in the
Yeah.
streets, and the disdain for what was happening, yet and still their kids and their brothers and sisters and all these people were being sent over there by
Yeah.
the government. Like that voice has been turned all the way down, and now I think it's more of a distraction. Music is used as a distraction instead of a connecting tool, a universal language.
Yes, man, I couldn't agree more. I think that is a big thing is that people just it's like music has become solely background music.
Mm,
Like it's just a thing to have going so that you don't have to be around silence, which is
right.
not the point of music to me. Like the point is like active listening.
Yes.
Like give like I want to get something out of this. And
Hmm.
it doesn't necessarily have to be like a political message or like anything
Right.
like that. It could just mean like I'm angry. Let me listen to some angry music because it's gonna make me
Right.
feel better. Like I'm still
Right. Right.
getting it's like therapy in a way. Like,
Right.
and yeah, I think, yeah, which the like late 60s. I mean, that's like the prime time for that. You know
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
crazy is that like I don't know if you're a fan of the Doors or know much about like the Doors,
yeah.
but I'm like a massive Jim Morrison fan. You know, his dad basically started the Vietnam War.
What? What?
So the Vietnam War started like the major event, what most people would consider the major event for us being in it. Was a thing called the Gulf of Tonkin, which you
Mhm.
might be familiar with that. But so like the Gulf of Tonkin, the guy who was the head of the Navy at that time of that incident was George Stephen Morrison, I think is
Mhm.
his full name, but that's Jim Morrison's dad.
Shit. Okay.
I mean, crazy. And
Damn.
then Jim Morrison comes around. He's making like, you know, pretty anti-war. It's
Yeah,
just crazy. Like
yeah.
that's
Taking
a real.
LSD and shit everywhere. Like, what the
Oh
fuck?
man, I know. It became the exact opposite of his dad, which
Yeah.
is amazing. You know, and like he used to tell people in interviews like that his parents died in a car crash when he was a kid.
Mm.
Because
Oh no,
it's
that's
not
not
like
real.
I mean, there's no Google in
Yeah,
1967. It's not like they
yeah,
can't go, oh well, I guess they did. Yeah.
yeah.
I love little stories like that, man. Where just
Yeah.
like these like origin stories of people, like
Mm.
so fascinating,
Dope, man. Dope.
man.
Hell yeah.
So I've been looking forward to this new one because 12 years is
And the last time I put out a record, it was 2012. It was the Napalm album. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've done like features and
Mhm.
like the serial killer stuff. Like I've done that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
I haven't put out a solo record since 2012.
Was so what I'm curious is like, was there something that made it seem like we're now like 2025 is the right year, or is it just something that was like, well, like, I've been wanting to do it.
No, no, the actual recording of Kingmaker um is basically I started and stopped the album like 4 or 5 different times. And so it just happened, to have the like to be finished, lined up, ready for distribution, the right people in place. Like I would have had this album out, years ago, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I started and stopped, and then this last time I started it, I think like an 8 month period. The music just really started to sound exactly the way I wanted it to sound. And I didn't
Yeah.
want to put out a music. I didn't want to put out a music project until I felt that way about it. So I've been telling everybody now, this is just divine timing. It's just happened to be that way. And it felt good to be able to land while there's so much energy in the West Coast right now.
Yeah.
It just happened to line up like that.
Yeah, that is interesting. Dude, play this in my phone. It was so good.
Yeah, thank you,
Like
man. Appreciate it.
dude, it's a great video, which that's like almost a big is well for a while now. It's kind of become a lost art form, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's just, obviously like MTV is not really MTV anymore,
yeah.
and
Right,
that's that whole
right,
thing.
right.
Uh but yeah, that video is so good. Just the whole like I was listening to it. It does seem like hip hop is kind of like gone away from like that sound, like that kind of like
Yeah.
old school sound. And
You
yeah,
know, I'm cautious about critiquing people's creative choices.
yeah,
And tell but I know when I put something out there, like it's my opportunity to take a risk on something that is not maybe very mainstream or very popular at the moment. I've never been afraid to take those choices. So yeah, I think I say that to say, a lot of people want to be safe when it comes to becoming an artist. They don't want to take risks because everybody wants success. But success in my definition means that I've created something that nobody else has created, and that we have, an impact. Like we connect with people, like the
yeah,
music and the things that they can relate to. I want to put that in my music, and that comes with being vulnerable. So play this at my funeral. It's a three something minute song with no hook, and
yeah,
and it's kind of like a state of the union about where I am. It has nothing to do with me dying. per se, but it does, give you a state of the land, like, here's where I've been, here's what I've been doing, here's how I feel about, the 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 status of things, and
Yeah.
and it came off good.
And that's like a big thing with like certain songs that they just don't need to have a hook. Like it
Right.
doesn't need it. Like one mic, no, I was like, that doesn't have
Yeah.
one. I mean, it kind of ends like each verse ends. Stairway to Heaven's one of the biggest songs of all time. There's no hook.
Yeah.
Bohemian
Yeah.
Rhapsody, no hook. Like it is like if it's done the right way, it makes the song more like
Right.
powerful,
Right.
because it's like, oh,
Understood.
you just keep getting hit with something. Like
Yeah,
instead of
you're not following a formula. And that's another thing about today's music. Today, people don't mind sounding alike. They'll use the same kick, drum, synth sounds, the same cadence, the same rhythm.
yeah,
And I think that, that's what we were talking about earlier. You have an abundance of this type of music coming out at one time. So the only thing that separates it is, who the name is under, right?
yeah,
But I think when people are finding authenticity and finding something different, it's a refreshing moment. And I think that's what's exciting about dropping this album.
yeah,
Um, like we have something that isn't chasing the current sound, but it is um it's my sound, but it's done extremely well. And so I think that's what my fans want to hear. I think that's what people who haven't heard my music want to
mhm.
hear. And so that's what I'm putting forward.
It has the old school, it has that sound to it, but
Right.
it's obviously new. Like it has like, it's a
Right.
perfect mesh of both
Yeah, yeah,
worlds.
yeah.
Like, yeah, because I mean, I can only go back and listen to the same songs over and over so many times. Like, God,
Yeah, yeah.
when you were starting out, did you have a
Mm.
hard time kind of getting like your own sort of like cadence flow? Like,
Oh yeah.
because like one of my favorite examples is like Chuck D, kind of not copied, but got inspired like his cadence from Marv Albert, which is
Mhm.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And whenever you know that, you listen to Chuck D and you're like, oh, it is kind of like Marv Albert.
See, I
Did
didn't
you
know
at the
that. I
beginning?
just know Chuck D. I'm gonna go look at Marv Albert.
Yeah, or go back and just watch them, listen to Marv Albert talk. It's like
Yeah.
the same kind of,
See,
yeah.
talking to you, Coach, man, you learn some shit all the time, man. Yo, if you don't watch Cody for nothing else, you're gonna learn something.
It's about all I got to give. I mean,
Yeah. Hell
yeah,
yeah, that's dope.
no,
But
but I
yes,
love, yeah, yeah,
yes, there was a lot of you know artist development that I had to do, myself, learning how to
mm,
go from battle rap into writing songs, finding the right temperature and range for my contribution on the track. That finding my voice, how to use it was one thing, and then I had to find my voice in what I needed to be saying, right?
yeah.
That's a whole other side of it, and that came with the life experience, maturity, realizing the impact that we were having, and the amount of people that were listening, and looking at that objectively and trying to figure out the right messaging that I want to put forth and I want to put forward.
Obviously, like hip hop, just as a genre, hasn't been around that long compared to other music.
It just had its 50-year anniversary, so I say it's 51, 52, something like that.
It's not like there's a ton to go back to, as far as like who influenced this person and then taking those steps back.
Right.
So I didn't know if like growing up, were you influenced by someone so much that it almost like affected the way you sound?
I was really a big fan of Public Enemy, especially because Chuck D's voice was so unique, and
Yeah.
then I was also a big fan of Rakim, DOC,
Mm,
um,
mhm.
those type of Ice Cube, um,
Yeah.
just Redman, all
Yeah.
these different type of cats that had like I was like into the aggressive sounding hip hop.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I listen to
Yeah.
everything, but I have my favorites, and so I think that is where the catalyst of my appreciation and um um my preference was go to
Right.
those, you know what I'm saying? And so now as I started, writing myself, I started writing at 13, and I would write in that realm. And then I had to find out what made sense for me. Like, my mother was an English teacher, and so she always had us in books. So my comprehension was a lot a lot sharper than it should have been when, as a child, right?
Yeah.
And we also didn't have internet. We didn't have social media. We didn't have Google. So we went to encyclopedias, dictionaries.
Yeah.
Every time I asked my parents a question, they would send me to this big, big bookcase, Britannica, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
break out the encyclopedia, and now you have to know how to spell. Now you have to know how to, you know what I'm saying? Now you have to find it,
Yeah.
and now you have to write the definition. And yeah, so that's how I grew up. So when I started writing, being able to use similes, double entendres, metaphors, all that stuff became easy. Now you got to boil it down and get to a simpler. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that became an art form in
Mhm.
itself, and it's very cryptic, and I like writing like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So so is it easier for you, or do you prefer to like have the beat already there, like have the music there and then you write on top of it, or to just sit down, pen and paper, write lyrics and then make that fit a beat? You know what I mean? Like, does that make
No,
sense?
no. I used to write everything down. I actually have a book bag still with every single, record I've ever written. I take the lyrics with me. So I have every piece of paper that I wrote on from every album in a backpack. I just kept it like that. So, because you could see the progression of whatever. But now I don't write. I just stand in front of the
Mm.
mic when the music comes on, and I come up, with it on the spot.
So it's
Because I
just
think,
freestyle that
yeah, it's not
turns into
freestyle.
something. No?
It's like I'll come up with a line, or come up with a few bars, then I'll listen to that, and then something snaps right there. Then I'll say it, and I'll punch in and I'll say it. You know, there's something to be said about, when you have an initial thought, especially in hip hop and in rapping, you say it with an energy because it comes in and it hits you. When you actually deliver it, or you write it down and you save it for later, your delivery's not gonna be like you did it the first time.
Yeah.
So
Right, right.
so I like to capture the energy of what I'm saying in the moment. And I wrote the entire Kingmaker record like that. So it sounds different. It punches different. It hits different. You can feel the energy in it. So I can't wait for people to hear me like this. I think we're gonna catch a lot of people off guard because you know, uh, that being an underdog and being underestimated has been like one of the best things that ever happened in my career. Because
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
oh man, because then when I come through and fucking kick you right in the nuts, it's Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
That's the best. That's the sweet spot, I think,
Absolutely, hell yeah,
yeah, man, it's
yeah.
just to
They don't
have.
even see it coming.
Yeah, especially with, such a long gap, between the last, like, full-length album. It's like, I think a lot of people might be kinda wondering, like, "Huh, I wonder how this is gonna sound,
Yeah,
12
yeah,
years later." And I think they're gonna be, pleasantly surprised,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
or
Hopefully, man.
maybe
I
not
hope.
surprised. I mean,
Yeah, I hope it's well received. I know
I
where
don't
my
doubt it
audience
at
is.
all.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
where my audience is. I know, how I'd like to present to them, and I'm really excited. I still love it. I still love what we do here. I still love hip hop. I love music. No matter how it changes or whatever, I mean, it's a universal language. How it's sold and how people, consume music is always, being manipulated. But one thing that remains the same is that, when people hear something that touches their soul, you can't deny it. And that's the end point. That's the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things that, like, no matter how big or small the band or artist or whatever, some every single artist out there, big or small, is someone's favorite artist.
Yeah.
Like, it
Absolutely.
doesn't even matter. And so, I mean, you're probably on who knows how many people's lists of like that is my favorite artist of all time. And yeah, and
Absolutely.
I think the anticipation is going to be is well worth it for everybody. Like
Yeah. No.
anybody who hasn't listened to at least listen to Play This at My Funeral, like
Mm.
gotta listen to that. Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Yeah. That's the first. That's how we start the album. Actually, there's 20 tracks. We definitely had to. We were going to drop on the 28th, but we pushed because the physicals weren't ready, and then there were some last minute things that happened on the album that the administration needed to be done. That I can't
Mhm.
wait to share with you guys. It's fucking amazing, but we felt like pushing it a few weeks is not a big deal in the scheme of things. So
Yeah,
there's some things we were gonna line up to go before that, but listen, I don't want this thing to see the light of day until it is perfect. And
yeah,
all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. Like it's got to be right. So that's what we're doing. Look, like I said, it's divine timing. I'm not. I used to get stressed about that kind of shit. Like, no, we
yeah,
gotta do it. But then it's like, you know what? Something is great. Something really magnificent is happening here. And if it's
yeah.
going to get pushed to do something, that means it's lined up to do something else that we didn't expect. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's like things tend to just work out the way they're supposed to. Like if you don't get in your own way,
Yeah.
things work out pretty well. Just
Hell yeah.
for the
Yeah.
most part, I think that's something a lot of people struggle with. Like they're just
Don't
trying to
force it if it's
manipulate.
not necessary.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I do have a few random questions if you have the time. Always,
Absolutely.
ask a bunch of
Yep.
random. Okay. Do you have a pre-show ritual?
A pre-show, I like something like,
Ritual?
I mean, like my group of guys is really focused. So, we make
Mhm.
sure everything is tightened up and we're ready to go. I used to drink a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I
Hell
don't do
yeah.
that anymore. I'm more focused on the show and
Yeah.
the performance of it. I mean, I guess smoke some weed, you know what I'm saying? Like, hit a
Hell yeah.
joint, something like that. We play music and everybody it's just like any kind of professional sport. You get your jersey on, everybody's in the locker room, high fiving, y'all ready to go do this? Let's kick some ass. Let's
Yeah.
go. Yep.
Yeah. Do you get nervous still? Or do you ever get nervous?
Uh I wouldn't say nervous. I get
Yeah.
I get focused. I mean, it's a different type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Nervous is when you're not prepared. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the
Yeah.
feeling. But I get I don't want to say I don't even say anxious. It's like I get hyped. It's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn. Well, I
Yeah.
tell you, I wish I had that. Good lord. Dude, I'm nervous just like merging into traffic, like let alone, going on stage. I'm over there free,
Look, you've done
10
it
and
a
2
thousand times.
sweating.
You get it 1,000 times. You know
Yeah.
what you're doing. Just make sure nobody's there. That's what I'm saying. It's like we self-doubt is a killer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Being able to be out of your head and trust the process and trust that you know what you're doing. Yes, so one thing, whatever. But I tell my friends, don't live it twice, right? And what I
Mm,
mean by that is like, you worry about something that hasn't happened.
yeah.
You worried about the what if. You could lose half your fucking life and raise your blood pressure out of the sky high levels by things that haven't happened.
Yeah. Story of my life. Yeah.
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 If you when you recognize the problem, you can fix it, right? And so
Yeah.
that's for me. It was just like, okay, cool. I gotta stop psyching myself out. Like, the things. That was a time when I was drinking a lot, and I'll be going through a rap in my head, and I miss a line, and then that send me spiraling, and then I'll be nervous about the sound of the show and the delivery of this. It's like it's a domino effect. So I was just
Yeah.
like, you know what? Let me do some self discipline. Let me
Mhm.
inspect what I expect, and fucking go for it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Yeah, free yourself, brother. Free yourself. And if it
yeah,
does happen, guess what? It didn't kill you. Let's go at it again.
I know. Yeah, that's the way to be, man. I mean, yeah, that's a great mindset to have. I think people need to hear stuff like that. Like,
Hell
there's
yeah.
so many people like myself who I'm constantly worried about what's about to happen or what's going to happen a year from now or something like that.
Yeah.
And chances
Yeah.
are, that thing that event comes and it's
Mhm.
nowhere near as bad as I think it was going to be. It's like,
Absolutely.
oh shit, that
Absolutely.
wasn't that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. You shaved years off your life for what? You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The amount of years I've shaved off, I probably
Yeah.
got about 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite city to perform in? A
Uh,
country out like a country outside of the US is the one that just really
yeah, dude, surprisingly, Germany is my second biggest market. I love going to
okay.
Europe. So, but one thing that I really was surprised at is that in Australia and New Zealand,
Mhm.
I get a huge fan base there. Like, like,
Mm,
like they fuck with the music tough over there. So, you know, going out there has been kind of like one of the regular routes that I go on. I tour
mhm.
a lot around the globe, but
Yeah.
Europe, the U.S., Australia. I haven't really done that much stuff in like Asia.
Mhm.
They won't even let me in China. They'd be like, "Fuck no," you
Fuck
know what
no.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No
yeah,
shit.
yeah, no fucking way. They,
Yeah.
they looking at my shit like, what? No.
Yeah, they're rerouting your plane, everything.
Yeah, they're like,
Like,
nah, don't even let him fly over our airspace. Get the fuck out of here.
yeah. That's a tough
Yeah.
one. That's
Nah,
a
but
rough one.
but yeah, man, I really love going to Europe. I really love going to Australia. I like going
Yeah.
everywhere, man, and rocking. I think the wildest show that I ever rocked was in Papua New Guinea. That was fucking nuts.
Really?
Yeah,
Papua
yeah,
New Guinea?
yeah.
That is not what I thought you were gonna say. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I was shocked
What
when I got there too. I was like, "Where is this?" Yeah, when
wait,
we got
what
off the plane, it was
yeah.
like, "Yeah, cannibalism just stopped like 50 years ago."
Yeah, and that
The fuck?
yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I'm going to my booking agent.
they ate one of the Rockefellers, you know?
Whoa!
Yeah, so, there's Nelson Rockefeller that was like the
Yeah,
governor of New York and
yeah,
vice president. His son, Michael, used to go on these like expeditions as like basically a photographer.
mm,
And they went to like some tribe, I believe, like right on this island outside of Papua New Guinea.
yeah.
And their like boat capsized, like this little small boat capsized, and he swam ashore to the wrong shore and they ate his ass.
Damn!
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, that's the
Well, you
Rockefellers. They
meet your
have it coming
demise,
too.
like like you meet your demise. It happens for everyone, but to be eaten is a cold way to go.
Oh, yeah. I
By
think
another
I
person.
might. Yeah, yeah. I think I'd go for it. I'd say, y'all can have me. I mean,
No, man, no. Being eaten by a cannibal or a wild animal is like not fair. That's not. I mean, come on, man. That ain't it. You know what I'm
the
saying?
um, the amount of people that I could save from my
Yeah.
big ass. I mean, there's an entire
Well, that's
country.
charitable. I get that though. That's charitable. I got it. I got it. I
Yeah,
got it.
see, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Natural
Oh,
causes being the first one, I'd like that to be
yeah.
the preference. But being eaten by a wild animal is not on the fucking the list. You know what I'm saying? That was
No.
not be the first choice.
No, that'd be rough. Yeah,
Yeah.
my god. Like, I do like watching videos of people getting attacked by animals because it's always their fault, and I'm always rooting for the animal. I'm like, "Well, this is what you get. It's like that's a lion," you know?
What are you trying to pet him for? This is not
Yeah.
fucking.
Or when the tour guide is like, "Do not get out of this car," and
Yeah,
you go,
yeah,
"Okay," and you get out
yeah.
of the car, that's on
Idiot.
you.
Idiot.
I know. That's yeah, 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 but yeah, that's interesting. What's your favorite fast food? That was a weird transition, but yeah.
favorite fast food.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or do you
Yeah.
eat fast food? You might not.
I have to be selective now. So my favorite fast food is uh, I mean, Wendy's. Wendy's.
Oh, Wendy's is a good one.
Yeah, yeah. Wendy's
Let
is
me
all right. Yeah.
let me tell you, there was a summer where I ate a Baconator every single day for the entire summer. And I mean, I had to almost get wheelbarrowed into, ninth grade. It was yeah, I looked like
Yeah,
Marlon Brando at the end
yeah.
of
I
this,
mean,
like, yeah.
I like a cheeseburger here and there, extra ketchup,
Yeah.
extra pickles. You know, yeah,
Oh,
pretty much.
no,
But I mean,
that's
it's
not bad.
like I really, really fast food. Try to stay away from it. But I mean,
Yeah.
I like a good steak and a glass of wine. That's where I'm at
Oh,
with it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Nice
okay.
thing. I got a Traeger. I be out there,
Oh,
doing my thing at the
hey,
crib. That's
yeah,
good to me now. You know what I'm saying? No
yeah.
more Hennessy fists. Let's put the Traeger on. You know what I'm
Dude, let me tell you something. Man, Applebee's used to have a Hennessy margarita,
saying?
and the amount of times I almost ended up in the back of a cop car because
Yeah,
of those
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Whoa. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, when you wake up, by the
yeah,
dumpster of an Applebee's,
yeah, yeah.
things are not going well. Yeah. Holy shit.
Man, we got to go party one time. If that's what you're doing, I'll go hard. I'll go hard on a party night with you one time.
Man, let me tell I mean, those days are long gone, unfortunately.
Good, good. Okay, good,
yeah,
good. But it
but
sounds like we would have had a great time in the 2000s,
I tell you,
early
I could
2000s.
well, yeah, I mean, I might be able to bring it back for old time's
Yeah,
sake
yeah,
if
yeah,
need
yeah,
be.
yeah,
Yeah, that's my god.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, whenever you started making, like, decent money, did you ever make a purchase that now you think back on and you go, "What the fuck was I doing?"
Oh yeah, all of that shit, all of it, man, all of it.
Yeah,
We get
yeah.
sold this thing. We get sold, especially in hip hop.
Mhm.
You know, different people, different are are pushed in different directions. And for us, for some reason, the appearance of success and wealth was more important than actually having wealth and generational
Mhm.
wealth.
Yeah,
So the first thing I wanted to do when I got decent money was, of course, buy a car. Now, a car
yeah.
is a necessity, but when you have money, you want to have a nice car, right? There was
Right.
1,000,000,000 other things I could have did with my money that could have been more substantial. As soon as you drive a new car off the lot, it loses its value, it depreciates like almost immediately. You could drive 1 foot and then try to sell it back, and it's not even worth what you
Yeah.
paid for. So I had at one point I had like two Hummers. I liked the H2, so I bought two of them, and I got a red, I got a burgundy one and a fucking a black one. They're two of the same fucking cars, and you can't drive. You can only drive one at a time. But I
Yeah.
wanted two of them, right?
Yeah, they're
And
just
then I
wearing
got
a
into
different shirt. Yeah.
then on top of that, and then then I got into a Bentley, and then I got another the other cars, and then this car. Then I thought the jewelry, and then but once you drive those things for a certain amount of time, it becomes a
Mhm.
car, right? And the last thing I need right now is more attention. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
look, dude, my priorities have changed, and I would really admire, but everybody has to go through it. I wish that everybody on earth could have $1 million in their hands in their bank account just to see what it feels like. Burn through it, see that it doesn't change shit. Things are still gonna suck. You're still gonna be sad. You're still gonna be depressed. It's not gonna change anything. You know,
Yeah.
um, but really happiness comes from within. And so now I got to look at money as a tool. It is just like, all these other things that are here to make life convenient, but you can do a lot, if you have your priorities and your financial house in order. Right. So
Yeah.
again, I went, I didn't go to college.
Mhm.
I had to learn all this stuff as I went through it. And a lot of people don't bounce back from having some of the the things happen to them, and then you also
Mhm.
got to realize, like, I'm not here for money. I just
Yeah.
so happen to be able to make a living from this art that I created. People appreciating it is a privilege, right? So for
Yeah.
me to be able to, get it, lose it, get it, lose it again, get it back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there was times where people of lesser, backbone would have quit, right? But
Yeah.
I'm here for different reasons, and that's why it always kind of balances and works out. Right now, it's up to me to be smart going forward, and that's kind of that's where I am. And it's not
Yeah.
kind of that's where I am now, and
Yeah.
it feels good to be able to still do it, right? So,
Yeah.
there's so many things and revelations that I've had over the years in my career. When I do write a book, I already got the title. The title of the book is called "Can You Take a Punch?"
I'm definitely reading that book. 100%. Good lord. Yeah, yeah.
But
Man.
I feel like the story's about to take another turn. So I'm gonna wait for
Yeah.
this chapter. Yeah, then I'll be like, okay, I think it's time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I mean, I do agree with, that, money's a tool and like it doesn't buy happiness. But I tell you what, if somebody did just drop $1 million in my lap, boy, would I have a fun day. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm going full out like Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
my T-Rex skull, everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I
Wait,
mean, it's like, yeah, go ahead.
didn't you work with Werner Herzog?
I did. I did. That was on the Bad Lieutenant with Nicolas Cage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great,
that's what I'm
great
remember.
dude. Great dude.
Which one, Herzog or Cage?
Both of them. Both of them. Herzog was very personable. He was not
Really? Yeah.
unapproachable. He wanted to understand the choices that were being made. And when he found something he liked, he knew how to elaborate on it. Very thick accent, but he,
Yeah.
he runs with it, man, and his vision is really dope. I mean, that was a win for me, to work with both,
Yeah.
giants.
Dude, Werner Herzog is arguably the most fascinating human being to ever live.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you know much about him, like as far as like
I
his
do. I mean, I like he's got a
past,
history on him.
but
Yeah,
woo, yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
him and like Klaus Kinski, trying to kill each other multiple
yeah,
times.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he showed up to Klaus Kinski's house with a can of gasoline and
yeah,
was about to start pouring it on his house, and then his dog came out, and he was like, "Oh fuck, I can't do it," but he was gonna
yeah,
burn
man.
him to
Come on,
death.
man. Look,
Yeah,
artists are weird.
incredible.
Like real creatives,
Yeah.
people that have could see like different. They're weird. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Oh yeah.
weird sometimes. You know, so I
Oh,
love
it's the best way to be. I mean, no judgments to Werner Herzog. I love his movies. I'm a
it.
massive fan of his. That's why that's what kind of triggered. I was like, oh shit, you
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
did work with Werner Herzog.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever heard the story about him and Joaquin Phoenix?
No.
So I'll just tell this real quick. I don't want to keep you too long, but it's a quick one. So
Yeah.
Werner Herzog was just hanging out one night and saw a car just driving by super fast. Car flips and and he sees smoke coming up. He's like, oh fuck. So Werner Herzog runs over and sees a guy in the car trying to like upside down trying to light a cigarette. And Werner Herzog's like, you can't do that, or whatever,
Yeah.
however he talks.
You can't
But
do that.
yeah, do not like this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he like grabs a cigarette, throws it, and pulls the guy out of the car. Before what all this shit's going on, ambulance shows up and he just leaves. Doesn't to anybody. Werner Herzog is like, well, my job's done. Well, the person he pulled out of the car was Joaquin Phoenix. It just so happened. Saved his
Yeah,
life.
Joaquin Phoenix is a badass.
My
Hell
favorite,
yeah.
yeah, I think he's the greatest actor, maybe of all time. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's man, dude. This has been a fucking blast talking with you,
Hey,
man.
thank you, man.
I've
Thank you for having
appreciated
me,
it.
Cody. I appreciate you.
Dude, absolutely, man. I mean, if you ever want to come back on, more than welcome. Open invitation.
Yeah, thank
Uh,
you, man. Appreciate it.
dude, absolutely. So before we go,
Yep.
any last words you have to say? Anything you want to plug, promote? I mean, I think we
Nah,
covered
man.
all this and stuff.
Thank you for having me on your platform. Kingmaker album coming out soon. You can go enjoy. We got a few songs out. Go check out Spotify. Go check out my YouTube page. Um, Xzibit everywhere on social media. And Cody, man, Keep dropping the science, man. Keep dropping the knowledge. We appreciate you.